First, let's talk about what is an auteur. Auteur theory is the theory that differentiates the normal director from the world-class directors through the consistency of style and quality throughout their films. The style being easy to recognize as their own, due to it having resemblance of the director's life and personality. It was made to critique 1930s-1950s Hollywood studio system. To understand whether Christopher Nolan is in fact an auteur, we must first understand his history. Raised in London and then in the suburbs of Chicago, a young Chris Nolan was inspired by films such as Star Wars and 2001's A Space Odyssey, which has left its mark on all of his work ever since. Beginning in 1998's The Following, which was a low-budget film focusing around human obsession, which is a theme accustomed to Nolan, as well as the protagonist's name, Cobb, was later given to Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Inception 12 years later. He then released 2000's Memento, starring Leonard Shelby. It was a big success. It focuses on a protagonist suffering with short-term amnesia, as he works backwards in 10-minute segments, uncovering pieces about his life, with the audience completely involved. This non-linear and obsessive themes and styles are again prevalent in his later work. To cap off his mid-budget noir films, Insomnia was released. However, it wasn't as big of a success due to it being regarded as slow. Although it did still have many traits of Nolan's filmmaking, clearly his step out of his comfort zone had not gone to plan. But that didn't stop him from transitioning into more action blockbuster projects, beginning with Batman Begins, starring Christian Bale as Batman, who personally was my favourite adaptation of Nolan's style due to the fact Nolan brings out Bruce Wayne's obsessive behaviour due to his vendetta against those responsible for his parents' death, as well as he showed the conflict within Bruce Wayne, as he appears boring and forced around others, which actually only emphasises Bruce Wayne's obsession regarding his Batman persona, and his more human-like traits in pushing others away, showing us a different side to Batman, something nobody had dared to do beforehand. Batman Begins made Christopher Nolan a household name. He then went on to The Prestige, starring Christian Bale and another actor he had previously worked with, Michael Caine, as well as Hugh Jackman. Prestige perfectly reflects Nolan's style due to the whole premise being about obsessive magicians pulling the rug from beneath their feet, which is something you could very much say about Christopher Nolan. This run of success followed, and grew, as his best known film, The Dark Knight, was a huge success, partly for the incredible performance of Heath Ledger. This brought Nolan's to the top of the stardom. The sequel to Batman Begins added layers upon layers of raw emotion and mental conflict that added huge weight to its scenes, making it enjoyed by a wide range of people. This momentum again carried on to his 2010 masterpiece Inception, as he explored the theme of reality yet again, turning a normality into fantasy with amazing set pieces, taking the audience on a mind-boggling journey through the minds of his own characters. His next film, The Dark Knight Rises, saw the end to the Batman trilogy, capping off Bruce Wayne's obsession over the idea of Batman and Bruce Wayne now becoming merged into one, and his inability to move on, resulting in both their deaths, however as an act of heroic sacrifice, not due to self-destruction. As Nolan's confidence grew after producing such a unique film as Inception, he released 2006 Interstellar, which was a film 30 years in the making for Nolan, as it was heavily inspired by 2001's Space Odyssey, as he made his own version of the space and time, both revisiting themes of obsession, reality, destruction and time, however introducing the idea of hope through love, which was a huge catalyst in the story. His more recent film of 2008's Dunkirk doesn't exactly show his themes of time as much due to it being a war film, but still shows his style and filmmaking through his shot types and editing styles seen back in Memento and even The Following, and the progression he has since made it a big success. His most recent film, 2020's Tenet, is another daring concept much like its predecessors, Inception and Interstellar. as it focuses on the theme of time in such a unique way with brilliant set pieces that had been learned over the years. However, Inception took almost a decade to write. Comparing the two reveals a clear difference as both had huge concepts, but Inception's execution of it included emotion that Tenet did not have. Christopher Nolan is involved throughout all stages of his productions, from screenplay to post-production. He consistently uses themes of reality, time, and identity through obsession. He also embeds themes of self-deception in his work, the idea of ignorance being bliss, as in Inception, Cobb spins the compass which would show the audience if he was in the real world or just part of his own reality. However, the screen goes black as we never get to see the compass full, clearly showing that Cobb doesn't care either way. He is happy with his family whether it is real world or his own reality, lying to himself for the sake of his own happiness, which intertwines with his character arc in the film. As well as non-linear storytelling using flashbacks and flash forwards usually at the start to set up a grand reveal at the end of the film, again confirming the idea of his films being like a magic trick. Another requirement to be seen as an auteur is his casting. He uses multiple actors multiple times, not just for a favouritism, but also just to create a specific role. For example, the femme fatale role is used consistently. A femme fatale role is a female that comes across as a stereotypical woman, however serves a greater purpose, and uses her vulnerability to manipulate the protagonist, such as Anne Hathaway's depiction of Catwoman, and Marion Cotillard as Mal, for example. He has also recasted the likes of Michael Caine, Gordon Levitt, Tom Hardy, and Christian Bale, and many more. He also gets his powerful sound scores from the renowned composer Hans Zimmer on multiple occasions. So in conclusion, Christopher Nolan fills out the criteria for a modern day auteur, for his originality and boldness to take the leap in his films, focusing on human nature and the world in such a way that he maintains all the themes and traits that made him so popular to begin with. Yes, there are flaws to his work at times, but he makes up for it with keeping to his strengths, with mesmerising set pieces as well as incredible characters that drive the stories and concepts. Thank you for listening.